Okay, world number one Novak Djokovic was included in the draw for the Australian Open, despite not knowing if he'll be deported or not for not being vaccinated for COVID-19. Djokovic is claiming a December COVID infection meets the criteria for a medical exemption. So what do you think? Should he be allowed to play in the tournament?
I think that's a big hard no, at least from me. My mother is a massive tennis fan, but she also watches the news and knows that we're like in a pandemic. And she also knows that like Australia has been in practically a constant lockdown since 2020, total of 6 lockdowns. So she kind of doesn't understand, as much as she would love to watch him play because she's a big fan of his tennis. She has said to me many times, like, his behavior is kind of a bit of an entitled brat. The rules to enter Australia are you need a full proof of vaccination. And his medical exemption of I was sick twice with COVID, it didn't cut the mustard. So to me, this is such a slap in the face if you're an Australian who's been sacrificing for 2 years, all in the name of what? A tennis tournament? So I can't believe that we're at this stage of the game. I think it's setting a really dangerous and kind of really unfair precedent.
Kind of feels like it's a two-tiered system, doesn't it, a little bit? Because two women tennis players who had similar sort of like a visa problem, because apparently he messed up on his visa and said he hadn't traveled internationally in 14 days. But he'd been back and forth to Spain and so on. And two other, as I was saying, 2 women were denied entry into Australia for the same reasons that he is sort of being set on the fence. It just kind of seems a clear-cut, dry situation, and everyone keeps sort of going back and forth, and I'm not sure why. Probably, I know, because he's the #1 tennis player, right?
He's the #1 tennis player, and if he wins at the Australian Open, which is his most successful Grand Slam, 9 of his 20 major titles have come in Australia. If he wins this year, he becomes the winningest singles player of all time. So arguably the best of all time, over and above Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. That is the big thing.
Yeah, I just can't imagine how it would feel to be in Australia. Mel, you hinted at this, but like if all the people have been following the rules and kind of like abiding by it, how will the audience meet him if there is an audience at that time? But like even there was a viral video that went around of these 2 newscasters talking behind his back, calling him a bunch of names that couldn't be actually aired. And I think a lot of people are feeling like that entitled brat sort of element and that they don't want him there. Imagine how we would feel if someone was skirting the rules and our government was kind of turning a seemingly blind eye. Anyway, Joanne on Facebook says, I still fail to understand why Novak can't take a test and then play. Like, I get it. He may be a bleep, but so are a lot of superstars and people in general. So what do we think about that? Like, should he be able to just take a test and play? Is that probably what's going to happen?
I don't know. Pam on Twitter might have a response. Also, she said Novak should not be able to play. He knew what the guidelines were for playing, and he totally ignored them. So whether you are ranked #1 or 201, you follow the rules.
So there it is. I don't know. I think we're going to be hopefully getting an answer soon. So you'll know we'll be on top of this story.